Good afternoon. It's great to be back at the Waste Conference here in Coffs Harbour. I'm relatively new to the Waste Conference. It's only my second year, really. And even in just the 2 years that I've been involved, it's great to come back and see the evolution of conversation and also action that happens over just a year. And I think nowhere is that more true than in the circular economy space. And I think that recently there has been a lot of momentum and a lot of action, and it's really exciting to be part of this stream today and be one of the speakers, so thank you. As mentioned in the introduction, I am a Senior Policy Officer at the New South Wales EPA, and I've been directly involved in the research and development for the New South Wales Circular Economy Policy Statement. So in today's presentation, I wanted to just talk you through the development process and what we've been through in the last year, to talk about research, consultation, and of course finalisation of the policy. I wanted to summarise some of those outcomes, and I'd also like to talk about some of the next steps and opportunities. But first, a bit of context. I'd like to summarise some of the key drivers that led to development of the policy statement, because I think they're important, and I think they really do create a space for opportunity and innovative thinking. As you're all familiar with, the recent recycling market challenges. So up until January 2018, China was a large importer of recyclable material from markets across the globe, and in January 2018, they did start to strictly enforce their national sword policy, which really impacted the commodity market for recyclable material across the globe. So this figure just illustrates the significant fall in commodity prices as a result of that, and in particular for things like mixed paper and mixed plastics in particular. And so it did create a huge challenge for the recycling industry, and it made it difficult to find end markets for some recyclable materials. And so when we were here last year, we talked a lot about the New South Wales government response to this issue. And in particular, we talked about the formation of the New South Wales government's Intergovernmental Task Force, which was established in March 2018. And so that task force was established to progress longer-term solutions to the national sword policy. And one of their key commitments was to develop a circular economy approach for New South Wales. So the intention was that this approach would strengthen the New South Wales recycling industry and generate a range of benefits to the community and an opportunity for change in the longer term. But of course, those recycling market challenges aren't the only drivers, and there's been a lot of momentum internationally for a circular economy approach, from businesses to government to non-government organisations. And we heard this morning from Rosalina's presentation about the Sustainable Development Goals, and circular economy certainly supports the delivery of some of these, in particular Goal 12, by committing to sustainable consumption and production patterns. So, the growing international profile of the circular economy is really all about its ability to deliver the environmental benefits and increased resource efficiency. And what we see, again, as mentioned this morning, in countries that have ambitious circular economy goals, we also see strong recycling and waste management frameworks. So it's often supported by specific laws that deal with, for example, packaging or product stewardship, and in particular the design of products. So we see that a lot too. So I think Australia, as a country and certainly as a state, we have an opportunity to really benefit from this momentum, and we can mainstream tested circular economy approaches that are currently happening internationally, particularly to production and consumption, and adopt international standards. I think that doing nothing really risks us falling behind, and I do think in a way this is a bit of a new world order, really. And so it would be remiss of me to not mention this, but of course the current linear economic model just isn't sustainable anymore. The linear model means significant or more raw material consumption, adverse environmental impacts, and more waste of valuable materials. It impacts businesses, the environment, community, householders, and of course these impacts are set to increase. And I think this is really a sentiment that's been echoed throughout the conference, that first of all, this is the state of play, and also now's the time for change, that now's the opportunity. So I did want to echo that sentiment, and I think it's very heartening that we're all coming from the same place, and that we are all, I think, of the same mindset. And of course, a circular economy approach will minimise these negative impacts and deliver positive outcomes. So minimising the amount of waste generated and creating more demand for recyclable products. As I mentioned, it is a shift in mindset, and there's an opportunity for that. It's an opportunity to build on the current waste hierarchy, so to think more proactively about waste management, and particularly in the design and use phases. So it's probably worth just recapping what is a circular economy. I think, we're probably well versed on many or maybe all parts of the circular economy, but it can mean different things to different people, and it can encompass a range of activities. It's really about sort of changing the way that we produce and assemble and use things to minimise waste, reduce our environmental impact, and keep things in use at its highest utility for as long as possible. And there's a range of benefits of this. It can protect businesses from fluctuating commodity prices and provide a more stable operating environment. And so this figure is really trying to illustrate those different types of circular economy activities, and it's trying to illustrate that it is quite a large, all-encompassing concept. And it sort of ranks the priority for circular activities from green to orange. So the green and blue activities are considered the most circular because waste generation is minimised and the production of materials and use of raw materials is minimised. So it's about products are at their highest utility and they're used by a lot of people, or they're used to their full capacity and before being, becoming end of life. And this includes things that are typical of your sharing economy, leasing arrangements and repair hubs as well, and resell hubs. So the yellow and orange activities, of course, are also part of a circular economy, and recycling and refurbishment are really important too, because they ensure that end-of-life material is diverted from landfill and it is reused in the productive economy. So it's about that resource efficiency and minimising the amount of primary finite raw material that we do use. And lastly, I just want to acknowledge through this figure that circular economy goes beyond our state borders and it goes beyond our country's borders. And I think that, material is imported and exported, and we certainly have a role here to work with the other jurisdictions, as we have been doing, and to continue that work and advocate for change on a higher, ideally a global platform. Okay, so development of the circular economy policy statement. So the policy statement intends to provide a definition and principles for New South Wales. It's meant to be the one point when we talk about circular economy, this is how we're talking about it, this is what we're referring to. So it provides definition and principles for everybody to use. And it also defines the New South Wales government's role in implementing the circular economy principles across the state. It represents a commitment to transition to the circular economy. It also provides a bit of information on the international, national and state contexts and acknowledges linkages there. And it sets out and guides the first steps of implementation. There were a few key steps that we undertook in the last year to get to the policy statement. It included coordinating the intergovernmental working group and that did the research and developed the draft document. It meant undertaking a significant amount of desktop review and independent research on circular economy best practice around the world and how that might best apply to New South Wales. We developed a discussion paper called Too Good to Waste, and we also, of course, developed our draft policy, and we used these documents to really facilitate consultation at the end of last year. So the feedback received during the consultation period and throughout development was absolutely critical in finalising the policy, and we will continue to use this feedback as we're guiding and looking at implementation. So I just wanted to provide some very high-level outcomes from the consultation process. So there were some really key feedback, some really key points that we received during consultation that I think critically changed the document. So, for example, we revised the definition and principles because we heard that the environmental and social benefits weren't as well captured in that definition initially. And some of the other circular economy activities weren't as well captured. We restructured the document so that it represented this statement of intent to transition to a circular economy, as well as providing principles to guide resource use and management. And we provided more information on those existing policies and the linkages there. Plus, we acknowledged the role of a range of stakeholders. And talking about, who is involved and who is interested, I'd like to really acknowledge the range of different organisations and different people who responded during the consultation process. And I really want to thank everyone for their contribution in finalising the policy statement and guiding implementation. We got 368 written submissions from the consultation process, which is huge effort, and even more from meetings, face-to-face, phone calls. So overwhelmingly there was support for a circular economy approach and policy in New South Wales. And it was really important to us to speak to as many different people as we could and different groups as we could. So this pie chart is really meant to illustrate all the different groups that we talked with and that we engaged with during consultation. And I think it really speaks to the fact that circular economy does impact so many different people, and it really is a platform and an opportunity to speak to manufacturers and retailers, as well as consumers and the waste and recycling industry and other government departments. So it really sort of transcends some of those traditional silos, I think. And in fact, this analysis that I've got on screen was from our email and questionnaire feedback. We spoke with even more people just through our face-to-face sessions and through phone conversations, and all of that was consolidated in the analysis. So it even goes beyond this pie chart, which I think is pretty amazing. So here is the final New South Wales definition of a circular economy as provided in the policy statement. So, a circular economy values resources by keeping products and materials in use for as long as possible. Maximising the use and value of resources brings major economic, social and environmental benefits. It contributes to innovation, growth and job creation while reducing our impact on the environment. And so from the feedback that we received during the consultation, it was really important to have a definition that lots of different people to use, that captured all the different issues and factors that were important to different people. So thank you again to everyone for your contribution in refining and tweaking this definition. And of course, with the definition came principles. And these principles were developed based on international best practice and based on feedback, what was important to you and what you thought should be foundational in guiding future strategy and future policy. So we have 7 principles. The first is sustainable management of all resources, then valuing resource productivity, beyond just extraction, I should say, just valuing the reuse of material. Designing out waste and pollution, so that really speaks to those actions in manufacture and consumption. Maintaining the value of products and materials, so again, waste as a resource. Innovating new solutions for resource efficiency, acknowledging that in the future we are going to get better at doing what we do and find new ways to do what we do and do things differently. Creating new circular economy jobs, acknowledging that this is an opportunity for job creation and job growth in New South Wales. And finally, fostering behaviour change through education and engagement. So we also collected a lot of feedback to inform potential action and next steps under 8 focus areas. So these focus areas were chosen because they're considered to address some of the underlying recycling market challenges while also providing a foundation for broader change. You can see here that the focus areas reflect the importance of both push and pull initiatives to stimulate both the supply and demand sides of resources in the economy. So the outcomes from consultation and some of the more important feedback that we received, or very important feedback we received, will be used to help guide the next steps in implementation. So we're still using the outcomes of the consultation. So I just want to share some overarching comments and feedback that we received that relate to implementation and that we're now considering. This is by no means comprehensive, but these are some key themes that transcended the groups. So firstly, there was a lot of talk about the national approach to circular economy and the need to have a national approach. Consumers and businesses felt that they needed to be more educated on circular economy, that the right regulatory environment is important in driving change, but that also industry and market-driven solutions can have a greater impact and can reduce regulatory burden. That circular economy should apply more broadly beyond waste management, and that targets, goals and responsibilities are important in driving future action. We also talked a lot about the importance of different economic levers and financial incentives, and the importance to have transparent data to guide that going forward. Finally, that problematic and hazardous materials and the impact that has on reuse, so especially plastics and things that kind of preclude the reuse. I don't have much time, so I'm going to try and this is my favourite bit though, but the next steps. Anyway, so we do have some priority projects that we've been working on and we continue to work on under the banner of the policy statement. There's a procurement project that we're working on with RMS. So RMS is leading a procurement project looking at glass in roads. And so we're assisting them by providing regulatory and compliance advice and liaising with industry, etc. So that's happening and expect to see more on that front. We also established a key agency liaison group with the Department of Planning and also with Fire Rescue New South Wales. And that's about making it quicker and easier for proponents from the recycling industry to get their developments approved. So trying to streamline those conversations and feedback and get the right information to the right people. And we're also doing a project on improving local government recycling contracts. So New South Wales Treasury is leading that, and they're examining commercial levers to incentivise stronger environmental outcomes and contestability in the market. So the viability of that approach has been proven. We have a pilot metro partner, but we're still seeking a regional partner. So if anybody's interested, please get in contact. Whether you're regional or not, but yes, please get in contact. I won't dwell on this too much. The 20-year waste strategy, Molly spoke about this morning, but it is a critical next step. We've got the principles now, so now we're moving into the 20-year waste strategy. The circular economy principles will be foundational and is really speaking to that change in mindset about how we think and manage waste. So that is very much happening, and feedback from the consultation is being carried forward there as well. And as some of you are probably aware, a circular economy innovation network is being established. So the New South Wales government has invested $1.5 million to establish a circular economy network. And this is about, we heard on the industry panel this morning, the importance of collaboration and connectiveness. And so this is aiming to better link industry with government, local councils, academia, to better facilitate the transition to the circular economy. So it's been announced that UNSW will host the network. So Vina from Smart Centre, who a lot of you may be familiar with, is director. Ashley Brinson from the Warren Centre at the University of Sydney is co-director. And I should mention that this is being funded by the government's Research Attraction and Acceleration Program, operated by the Office of Chief Scientist and Engineer. So the network's being established with governance, and there'll be a centralised contact point. More information to come, but if you want to be put directly in contact with the network, please see me. Sorry, I think I might have run slightly over time, but I'll be around for the rest of the conference. Please come and find me. Please come and visit our stall. We're near the reception desk if you haven't done so yet, and they conveniently lay out the morning and afternoon tea just nearby. So please drop by and visit, and thank you for your time.